Let the meltdown begin. MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network. I am Gabriel Morency. Let's do this thing as we're kicking it old school on the program this evening. Joey Odessa returns to the mix. We'll break down the UFC's first trip to Poland. You know what? It's not a star-laden card, but in my opinion, it could be a pretty violent card. You know, they're throwing it down in Poland. There's a lot of local fighters. And hey, we've got Krakow, Gonzaga too. And it's hard to believe that it's actually been over 8 years since it was the kick heard around the world. So it'll be a lot of fun breaking it down with one of the premier combat sport odds makers in the business, Joey Odessa. We'll also take a look right now at the situation going down for UFC 186 in Montreal. It's been chaos, it's been carnage, as it always is, seemingly has been over the past couple of years. Whenever a UFC card has been booked in Canada, it's almost a stone cold Steve Austin lock that the best fights on the card aren't going to happen. And it's happened repeatedly. And then cards were announced. And then the entire cards were canceled after they were announced. Gustafsson and Jones, too, was actually going to be in Toronto. And then Vegas wanted it more, i.e., the casinos were paying more money to hold this. Now, the UFC is getting shredded right now by Canadian MMA fans. I'm getting tweets. Morency, I bought 6 tickets for UFC 186 for my buddies. 4 of my buddies said, I'm not going. And it's never a good sign when the promoter in Montreal, and trust me, I'm from Montreal, they don't like giving you back anything in Montreal, like nothing at all. Read the fine print in Quebec, not available in Quebec. Refunds, not available in Quebec. Nothing's available in Quebec. You know the card's been hit hard when even a Bell Center's like, listen, we'll give you your money back if you don't want to come. And me personally, I don't mind. And as I've spoken to people in Montreal about this card, they said, hey, more people to get canceled, the better. I'm just going to get hammered, get great seats for real cheap, and have a good time watching some fights. And that's what it's all about. And you can't blame the UFC for the fact that Hector Lombard tests positive for PEDs. I'm sure they had no idea that he was on steroids. I mean, come on. And you can't blame them for the fact that TJ Dillashaw gets hurt, right? That's not their fault. But I think you can blame them for this Rampage Jackson debacle. I mean, did anybody in their right mind legitimately believe that Rampage Jackson was, that this would work out? He's under contract to Bellator. Rampage Jackson's being used as a pawn with that stupid-ass lawsuit. And I think the fighters do get screwed over. But I think that lawsuit is pointless and ridiculous and just trying to tie up the Fertitta's money in court. So the Fertitta's lawyers figured, let's use Rampage Jackson as a pawn. They try to sign him, and now when they're in court, they say, hey, we're not a monopoly. We're not a monopoly. We tried to sign Rampage Jackson. Nobody cared if Rampage Jackson came back to the UFC in the first place. But now the fans actually get screwed over because it's not about whether Rampage Jackson is a great fighter still or not. People like the show, man. People like him coming out and barking. People like the chains and all that type of stuff. He's an entertainment. He's an entertainment machine. That's what it's all about. And if you don't think it's all about that, just ask the jackass fans in Virginia from the other day. I didn't like that whole world tour thing with Aldo and with Conor McGregor. It was great and hyping the fight, but I don't think you should be giving the mic to fans. I'm all down with interaction. But the fact of the matter is, when it's the week of the Super Bowl, they don't give the mic to the fans at the press conference, say, hey, Tom Brady, I think you're a douchebag, and I hope that the Seattle Seahawks break your leg. That doesn't happen. So it shouldn't happen to Jose Aldo. It shouldn't happen to Conor McGregor. And people shouldn't be giving the finger to Al Iaquinta. The same jackasses that are giving this guy the finger and booing him will be coming up. Hey, Al, can I get a picture with you? Can we do a selfie with you after the fact? They'll be the first jackasses coming up to him and asking for his freaking autograph after the fact. And how many of these clowns would be melting off if he wasn't in the cage? There seems to be like a roller coaster of the type of fans that go to the events. And we're sort of morphing back into the stand them up and freaking fight type of crowd. And the UFC, in my opinion, is doing everybody a disservice by encouraging this stuff and giving the microphones to the drunk-ass, stupid fans in the crowd in the first place. Joey Odessa is going to join us, going to break down the card in Poland. I'm actually jacked up. We got a bunch of great fights around the corner. We got some sick-ass videos of the week for you. We might have the nastiest break ever when it comes to our video. All that and more on tonight's MMA Meltdown.